Right, okay, a lot of people don't really know what batch files are, but basically they're like programs. Actually, I'm not sure if I recorded that just then, but anyway, a lot of people don't know what batch files are, but they're basically little programs that you can customize and edit and change easily without actually having to compile them. Once a program's compiled, it basically becomes kind of compressed and encrypted, so that you can't really do much with it until you decompile it to actually edit it again. Now, I made this batch file that cleans people's computers. Now, just to demonstrate, it also self-updates. It downloads itself off my FTP, so it always keeps itself up to date with the latest. Now, just to show you what I mean. Now this is my CLEAN6 bat. Now I'm going to run it in a minute. Now just to prove it, I'm going to go down to a line where I'll explain a little bit about it. Now when you put comments in a batch file, this particular section here with the little dots at the beginning is commented out, so it's an instruction for the person reading the batch file to help them to understand what it does. So let me just zoom in. Basically, the double hyphens there, these little dots here. My mouse is acting up and it's done my head in, so I'm going to just switch over to my other mouse. Right, these little dots here comment out that. Now there's another way of commenting out something. It's also known as rem, so you can type anything after that and it won't interfere with the program because it will ignore that. It's all text, just ignores anything after rem. But if you put echo, now I won't do it here because this particular part, actually I could do it here actually. Now if I just put echo, then hello world. Now when I run it, you'll see that, but the trouble is it'll whiz past so quickly you probably won't even notice it. It'll probably scroll off the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put pause. So it basically pauses when it says that, when it runs that. And I'll just show you that now. And just to prove it, the actual time at the moment, let's see what time it is. It's actually 3:15 in the morning, well 3:17 now, so I'm going to put hello world 3:17. Right, I'm going to save that. Now I'll run it now, if I can see it on the screen. There you go. It's got hello world 3:17. Press any key to continue, and I paused it, you see, but I don't want to run it all right now, so I'm going to take that out. But you can get it to do other things like hello world, and if I put a variable in time, which is a system variable, it will actually tell me the right time when I run it now. So if I actually make it look a bit tidier, let's put some blank lines underneath, and let me put a blank line on top. Right, echo with a dot is a blank line. Right, so I'll just save that. Now when I run this, it's going to tell me the right time. There you go, hello world, and it's 04:33. Actually, something wrong here. According to my computer clock, it's actually oh yes, 4 minutes past midnight. That's right. I was looking at my clock wrong. It's actually 4 minutes past midnight. I was thinking, why did I put 3? Yeah, I must be looking at something else. Just a minute. It gets confusing sometimes. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing. Right, so anyway, and basically that's what a batch file can do, and you could also get it to do other things. Now, normally, if I wanted to run a batch or command line, most people don't know what command lines are. I'm just going to turn the echo off, and that means the screen won't print all the commands. I've got CLS, which is clear the screen. I've got a blank window. Now this is just a command window because you've got the flashing cursor there. I can actually get it to speak to me, and I've got a little program installed. It's called say static. So if I type say static hello world, which is a little extra program I've got, and I press enter.
Hello world.
It actually speaks hello world, so it actually says hello world. Right. Now I could put that in my batch file. Now let's just copy that, because command lines work a little bit differently. Copy that. Now I'll minimize that. Now I'll go into my batch file, and instead of, and underneath where it says echo, I'm going to put the say static hello world. Save it. Now I'll run it.
Hello world.
There you go, and it actually spoke it, if you notice, just before the little option came up to press any key to continue. So whenever you put a command in a batch file, it has to run the command fully before it'll go on to the next command, unless you actually use a different type of start method. You can like start a new process, in which case the batch file will continue and run everything all at once, which is sometimes you don't want that to happen. Basically my batch file runs programs sequentially, which means it runs antivirus programs, it runs CC Cleaner for example, and cleans the computer when you're not around. So it saves you a lot of time. You don't have to sit there clicking buttons and pressing buttons all the time, but you do occasionally get little boxes coming up that ask you to do something. For example, it might find a virus and you have to take some action to get rid of it. Now I'll just close that a minute. I'll get rid of all this because all of that I just put in my batch file just to demonstrate. Now let's save it and now run the batch file properly the way it's supposed to be run, and you'll see all the other commands which I've got further down. Hello computer name. It says hello to my computer, which is the name of the computer, and now it's checking which directory it's in, where the batch file is located. Now it's checking for the CD-ROM because it's going to need that later if it needs to install a Windows, repair your computer with the Windows CD. And now I've made it so it pops up a little help file. So it actually opens this help file, and if you look, the batch file is actually waiting for me to close this text file. It's actually stopped at that point. So as long as this text file is open and I read it, I'll put word wrap on so we can see it properly. Actually the word wrapping is not very good because it's quite a big, I've got the text size quite big, so let me just make it a bit smaller. Right, okay. This little update's about what I've done, updating my batch file, making my improvements. I am also looking into improving the updated delivery using an auto zip of the batch file to preserve the file modified. This is all the stuff I'm putting in to help people understand what I'm doing, and that's the last update I put, which was on the 11th of the 11th, and yesterday, which was the 13th of the 11th, and it's just some instructions. Now notice what happens when I close my text file. The batch file resumes, carries on, because that command has been completed, carries on, and now it's asking us for the current directory path. Sorry, it's telling us the date, and it's doing a date check to verify that the format is right for this country, and 2-digit year is 14. the month is 11 and the day is 14, and it says, do you want to run a manual deep scan also? Now you press Y, the letter Y, and press enter. It'll do a deep manual scan, which means you get lots of boxes coming up, and you might have to actually select some check boxes and things like that to clean all the junk off your computer. Now, and if you press N, it will skip most of that stuff, but you might get one or two, you might get one box that pops up that you have to take action with, but it basically doesn't bother you too much. So if I get the little highlight thing on, works in a different way to most programs. Now, do you want to run manual deep scans? Press Y and press enter. Some of these deep scans take a long time to complete. You should only run the deep scans about once a month to save time, or if you know there is a problem with your computer and it needs fixing. Actually, I didn't go right up to the end of the word there. Fully automated, press N. Deep manual scans, press enter. Press Y and press enter. Now, I need to change that. Right. No, that's alright, I think. If you want full automation, do not want to be bothered, just press N, blah 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 blah. So anyway, down at the bottom here, I've got to click on copy, otherwise it won't get out of that. So if I press N and press enter, now it's going to go to the first stage, which is to run CC Cleaner, and which is what a lot of people use. It's a free program. It cleans all the junk off your computer, all the temp files, all the other clutter, and once it's run CC Cleaner, it'll get rid of the files, junk, and then it'll do the registry clean, which is any junk in the registry. So now it's done that. Now it's running MCSoft command line scanner, which is anti-malware. Now it's going to run the MCSoft scan. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to let it update, but then I'm going to skip the rest because it can take an hour or longer to do the scan, and obviously you don't want to be sitting here waiting for that while I'm making a video. So now the CC Cleaner file clean is running in the tray. You can't actually see that, but take my word for it, it's running in the tray right now. I could move the box, but let's see. Oh, it's disappeared now. Yeah, just when I moved it, it disappeared. So now it's running the disk cleanup wizard. Now the disk cleanup is part of Windows. It's called Clean Manager. It's built into all Windows operating systems, but most people don't even know it's there. Yeah, they don't know where it's there. They often don't even know how to find it. That's why I put it in my batch file, because it's so easy. You just run the batch and it runs it for you. And obviously if it's not configured, the first time you run it, a little box pops up and you have to select all the boxes for temporary internet files, temporary installation files, blah blah blah. There's a whole bunch of check boxes to select, and you click OK once you've done that, and then the cleaning continues. Now I'm going to cancel this because this can take a long time as well, and I've got a lot of hard drives, so I'm going to click cancel about half a dozen times, whereas you've only got one drive, so you'll have to click cancel once, right? So anyway, now it'll go on to the next job as soon as as soon as Clean Manager's finished, because it's a process running in the system. Let me just bring it up. It's actually a process that's running, and once that exited it out, let's see, there's money. Alright, I think it's actually stopped now. Yeah, here we go. Now it's doing the CC Cleaner registry clean. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, it's gone. Every time I move the box, it disappears. That's because my computer's already clean. Right, okay, now it's doing it's done the CC Cleaner registry clean. Now it's going to do the MCSoft anti-malware command line scanner, which is looking for malware and viruses. As I say, I'm going to cancel this, and the way to cancel a particular scan in a batch program is to press Control C. Now it says it's actually cancelled the antivirus scan, but it says terminate batch job. No, I don't want to terminate my batch job, just that thing. So I press no, and I press enter. So it says completed anti-malware scan. Now it's going to go on to the next one. It says it's not found any malware. Well, I didn't give it a chance really on this occasion, because as I say, I'm just making a video. And now it's going to go on to the next one, and I think the next one is malware bytes, and I think that's another anti-malware scanner. Oh, it's registry mechanic, yeah. Registry mechanic's next, and now because I keep shuffling things around in my batch file in a different order, you see, and I get confused which is next sometimes. So now it's running registry mechanics. Going to check for any. I've got to allow that. Right, so it's scanning my registry for any junk. Notice that the batch file is waiting for registry mechanic. Actually, it's not. No, it doesn't work. Well, anyway, my system's clean. Okay, registry mechanic is done, so I'll close that out. Now it's going to run the next one. Notice that all these things are happening without me having to manually run them one by one. That's the whole point of the batch, really. But I mean, notice that the registry mechanic did the clean automatically, so you didn't actually have to be there to press any buttons. It would do it, but the window would stay open anyway until everything had finished, and the computer would shut down when it's finished. So the batch file shuts the computer down when it's finished. Well, that can be turned off in the batch file if you don't want that to happen, by commenting it out like I was explaining earlier. And that particular part is right near the bottom. Just scroll all the way down. When you get down to, there's a part that says shutdown. There you go. This part here, shutdown. All you would do to stop that from shutting the computer down is to comment that out and save it, and it wouldn't shut the computer down. Right, okay, now it's doing the defrag. Right, okay, then it goes on to do the defrag, and when it's done the defrag, it'll do the disk check. But only 4% of my drive is fragmented, it says. So I'm just going to quick Control C, because I want to cancel that, because I'm just doing this video. Well, I think it's cancelled it. Yeah, I think so. Right, here we go. Now it's checking the defrag schedule for drive D, which is my other partition, and now drive E. I'll put a little pause in between each one, otherwise all these messages scroll past so quickly you don't get a chance to read them. And now it's doing a one for drive F. The next one will be G. And when it's done all that, it will there we go. Now it's doing a config. A config is where it makes system files contiguous, that is all in one piece, and it's running the config for various command lines, which is the volume, paging file. It says access denied for some of these, because actually on Windows XP some of these files don't exist, so it doesn't matter that. It's just skipping through some of the command lines which are there for Vista but aren't necessarily there for XP. I'll put them in as default, but later on I'll make it so that it can decide whether or not it's going to run it for XP or Vista or Windows 7. But for now it just doesn't cause a problem to run them if they don't exist. It just says access denied, so there's not a big issue there. And now it's finished the batch file. It opens a log file which it's just created. Scroll all the way down, so I've run this loads of times. You scroll all the way down, and this is the scan that we've just done today. And it says new scan, initialize, and I go the time and the date, 14th of the 11th 2014. says that compatible Malwarebytes is not installed, that means that because there's various different versions of Malwarebytes, there's a different type of version which doesn't really support command line, so you can't really run it from the batch properly. So I'm using mbar, which is malware, which is basically it's anti-rootkit. That's what it stands for. MB, Malwarebytes, AR, anti-rootkit. It's a different program, but it's part of the Malwarebytes. It's easier to run that than it is to actually run the Malwarebytes built-in program, because that brings up another window, and it doesn't. The new version doesn't need to support command line, and it's not automatic, so you have to be there. So, and even mbar, it prompts you if it runs. Anyway, so clean the system. It's done the Sage clean, which is to do with the clean manager. It's done the defrag, and I skipped it obviously because for the purpose of the video. And it's done the config, blah 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 blah. So that explains what my batch file does, and I've managed to get this all in 21 minutes. So I didn't do so bad. But as I said, there's also self-updating part which is disabled on mine, because I'll tell you what would happen. I'd be updating the batch file, I would put new features in it, edit it and change it, then I'd run it, and then I would overwrite my updated version with the older version. I thought, oops. So I had to disable the self-update for myself, otherwise I couldn't put the new version on the FTP server for other people to download, because I downloaded the old one and it overwrote the new one. I thought, oh no, so I had to disable the update for myself. But for you, when you run it, you will get a little box. Now, I'm going to explain this because this is important, because a few people have accidentally blocked the update. What happens is you run it on Windows. Oh, I'm looking at the log file. Where's my batch file's closed? There we go. Right. Just go down. You run the batch. I'm at the bottom of the file, so I need to go all the way up. And you get a little message. Can't find it. Right. When you first run it, here we go. You get a little message, it comes up, it says, oh, important, Windows Firewall may ask you if you want to block this program update. Now this is what really does my head in, because Microsoft have made it very confusing. Because the little pop-up box in Windows Vista, to me, is just ridiculous. It says, continue blocking. In other words, it gives you the impression that it's been blocking all along, and it's never allowed it. Well, that is a bad idea, because my friends think, oh, continue blocking, it must have been doing it before, so I'll click that one. No, you should click unblock, because what that basically means is that before the window came up, it started to block the update or whatever. So you click continue blocking, and what happens? Most of your programs fail to update or don't want to run at all, and obviously you want to do that if something causes that box to come up and you don't know what caused it to come up. For example, you're happily going along on your internet and you're talking on Facebook, and out of the blue that box pops up. You think, hang on, I didn't just start a program, so why is this box coming up saying continue blocking or unblock? So then you might have a virus on your computer. In that situation you would say yes, continue blocking, because you don't know what started the process which caused the window to come up. But if you start the batch file and it says that this batch file is going to update itself, then obviously it needs internet access. So if you get that box saying continue blocking and you block it, then you're not going to get no update, and it's most likely going to cause more damage to the batch file than what it would do if you clicked on unblock. So I'm just explaining this because some of my friends have accidentally clicked the continue blocking one, and as a result the batch file failed and it came up with an error. This batch down here, because the batch file checks the file, it downloads the new version, which is CLEAN6 new. Right, downloads the new version of the batch as a new file. It does a a percentage check to see if the file is 0 bytes, which means it's blank, or if the file is good. Now if the file is 0 bytes, it hasn't downloaded anything, it's downloaded junk or something that doesn't exist, because the firewall would have blocked it, so it has to delete it. But if it's a good downloaded file, and if it's got a good file checksum, I can't say the word, then it would say file is okay, and if the file is okay, it will move the file to the CLEAN6 new file. It will move it and replace the old CLEAN6 back with a new one. That's how it works. So that I'm just explaining it. And once it's done, if the file failed and if it didn't update, and if the file is bad, it deletes. That's del. It deletes the CLEAN6 new if the file is bad, and that can happen if you block the file, if you use the firewall to block it. So just be careful. Anyway, I think I've covered everything now. Thanks for watching.